So what are the main components here? This looks like the gas line coming in. This must be
The gas valve.
The gas valve right there.
And you have your pressure switches, you have your inducer motor. And
So this really is the motor that blows all the
exhaust out.
all the exhaust out?
Correct.
Okay, all right. There's probably nothing in this particular part of the furnace that sort of your average homeowner should be messing with, correct?
No, there isn't.
Yeah. You know, the other thing I noticed too is that there's this line right here that sort of goes, you know, kind of comes underneath here and goes out here. This looks like some kind of, you know, plumbing line or condensation line.
Yep.
Yeah.
What you have is it's the condensation coming back from your exhaust from the heat, and it's coming down, bringing it into your drain, and it's going back through the furnace and down and out the drain.
So it sounds like it's pretty important that that doesn't get clogged up, because
Correct.
what ends up happening then is what? You get like a little fish tank inside your furnace there?
No, you won't. I have a safety feature of a overflow right there, just in case that ever did get plugged up. But
One of the things I realized we didn't talk about much was sort of the ductwork. I mean, the ductwork really, when you talk about efficiency of sort of heating or cooling a house, in some respects is almost more important than the furnace, right?
yeah.
I mean, because if the duct's not run correctly, then you have sort of real big problems in that area. Can you tell us, I mean, there's two ducts, right? There's this sort of one that, you know, goes one way, one that goes the other way. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
All right here, for instance, you have your supply, and this is your return. Everything, your hot air from your furnace is getting pushed out through the supply and going to different rooms, and everything's coming back through your return.
What's the significance of a return system? Why do you even need that?
Well, you need that to get the proper pull through your house and keep the air flowing. And
So constantly, you want a sort of a change in air throughout the whole house. I mean, if we were constantly just blowing air into rooms that was heated and not taking out, it obviously cause a balancing problem, I guess,
yes,
right?
correct.
Okay, so when you get people that call about sort of problems with heating or cooling rooms, I mean, a lot of times you go to these houses and what do you find sometimes?
Well, my son's room's not heating right, and they're cooling. So I go in there and they'll have a dresser in front of a return, and so it's not going to be pulling the heat or the cooling from the register and bringing it across the room. Or they have stuff over the registers on the floor, and, you know, which is a pretty common.
Yeah, I know my daughter just not too long ago told me that when we turned the heat on this year, told me that her room was cold, and I went in there and she had about 50 stuffed animals over the hot air sort of supply, and I said, well, honey, the first thing you have to do is take these off the supply. So you see that a lot, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
And it's just as detrimental to block up or return as it is a supply?
Correct.
In terms of the balancing of the system?
Yeah, you won't have the flow going across the rooms like you'd like.
Great. So, I mean, it's important to make sure that furniture placement, stuffed animal placement, that kind of stuff is in the right place relative to both the return. So, Jim, when you go into a bedroom, how do you know the difference between sort of a return and a supply, other than putting your hands on it and you can feel sort of hot air blowing out of it?
Usually your supplies are on the outside wall below a window, your heat loss, and your returns are in an inner wall. So your heat's coming across the room.
Okay.
And taken back to the furnace.
You know, just a good time to add one little sort of bit for me as a home builder. I'll tell you that there are many times people call us into their houses because they have condensation on the windows. And then we go into their house and then we find that the supply is blocked and they have blinds or different things covering the windows, so no hot air is actually making it to the glass. So, I mean, I know that's not related to the furnace, but in many respects it's related to the entire system and how you use the system in the house. So how do people get a hold of Dave Jones Plumbing and Heating if they need to give you a call?
We have a little metal folder on the side of the return duct here with our name and number and with all the pamphlets from the equipment we installed. And right there, you can give us a call.
Great. What about non-Brookstone homeowners? You guys in the yellow pages? I mean, on the internet? I mean, how does somebody find Dave Jones?
Both.
Both?
Yeah.
Or on the internet and the telephone?
Yeah.